Hey everybody, this is Darren Sabedra again, Bay Area News Group, Mercury News, East Bay Times, here with Joseph Dycus, Christian Babcock, and Nathan Canilao. It was night 4 of the high school basketball playoffs. Christian and I are refreshed after taking yesterday off. Christian, you look well rested after a day.
Do I look well rested? That's good.
I think so.
I hope
you're
you're
moderately well rested, but you take what you can get this time of year. So no complaints.
Exactly. Thank you to Joseph and Nathan for piloting the ship yesterday and getting us through the 4 games on the schedule. So tip of the cap to them, and for giving us a shout out. I watched your show. You gave us a shout out at the end.
We did.
So thank you very much. Night 4. So we had the North Coast section and the Central Coast section teams playing tonight. For the lack of a better term, it was basically play-in games for the CCS and the enrollment divisions 1 through 5. But open division pool play started, and as expected, the Midi girls look really good. They rolled through Valley Christian. Pinewood girls also won in convincing fashion. So we're about a week away from a potential Pinewood Midi showdown for the Open Division Championship in CCS. Surprise of the night, though, Reardon won. We expected Reardon, the boys, to win. They won by 14, only 14 over Midi. It was a 3-point game at halftime. Nathan, you're familiar with both of these teams. When you saw that tweet at halftime from Pat O'Rourke that it was a 3-point game at 22-19, what were you thinking?
Oh man, I was thinking, are we on upset alert here? No, I mean, knowing Tim Kennedy and that program over at Midi, they're well coached, and when they get into a groove, they have a really great junior in Caden Hutchinson. So I'm assuming he had. We don't know the exact stats, but I'm assuming he had a great game.
No, he did not. He did not play.
Oh no! Wow, even better for Midi. I mean, I'm just looking at the box. I mean, just the quarter by quarter score. I mean, it was 10-2 after the first, and I think even then it's like, wow. I mean, they only allowed 10 points for Reardon. That team that could put up 25, 30 points in a quarter. It's a great. I mean, even in a loss, it's a really great performance on their end. I would like to think that they held the ball and really chewed that clock, really control the tempo early on. But wow, yeah, I'm really impressed by Midi as the 8th seed coming into San Francisco and doing that. And I don't know if it's alarm bells for it. I don't think it is, but it is definitely a wake up call, I think, for those guys who've been dominating the whole year.
Right. I go back to the very first CCS Open where Aaron Gordon's Midi team played SoCal in the first game, CCS Open. It was actually the first day of the CCS Open because that was the first year of it. And SoCal almost won at the buzzer, missed a 3, hit the rim and bounced off, and Midi survived by 2, went on to win the Open Championship, then won the NorCal Open, and then lost to Mater Dei by 5 points in the state Open Finals. So maybe Reardon will use this quote unquote wake up call and roll through the rest of the postseason and maybe get to that Open Division State Championship game that they narrowly missed getting to last year against Salesian, when they played Salesian in the NorCal final. But Joseph, I mean, for Midi, I mean, we went through the record book. I mean, Midi's been to like 3/4 of the Open finals in CCS and has won more Open titles than any program in CCS on the boys' side. Even though this is a quote unquote down year by Midi standards, they're still a dangerous team. You don't want to see Midi on the other side of the bracket. I mean, on the other side of the your opponent line. You don't want to see Midi.
Yeah, I think WCal has a lot of great coaches, but I think Tim Kennedy is. If you told me he was the best coach in WCal, I don't think many people. There wouldn't be a terrible argument against that. He knows how to get the best out of his team. Like Nathan said, I'm assuming what they did was they held the ball. They weren't going to give Reardon more shots than they needed. And they basically played the kind of game you have to play to win a game against a team like Reardon, which is limit possessions and, have a chance there in the second half, which they did. Now, with that said, I think it says a lot about how good Reardon is that they beat a team by 14 and all we're doing is showering praise upon
That's how good Reardon is.
That's how good Reardon is. I mean, they they ended up winning by double digits. And they're that good. So I think this will be a wake up call for, the best team in the Bay Area, at least this year. And I'm interested in seeing how they respond in the next game. Who are they playing in their next pool game?
That is
MA,
and then who do they wrap up with?
VC.
All I gotta say is I would not want to be Menlo Atherton on Monday night.
It's gonna be a tough game for them. That's gonna be a very tough game.
Speaking of Menlo Atherton, Christian saw Menlo Atherton. Going back to Midi real quick, they made 9 3-pointers tonight, and that's pretty good.
Yeah.
For 27 points off 3-pointers, they scored 45 points in the game.
Yes.
So they did hit some shots. And Rencher was the leading scorer for Reardon. He had 12 points. So not a lot of offense. Christian, you saw MA. They went down against Valley Christian. They got a really tough test on Monday, I guess, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're gonna. We cleared this up a little earlier. I talked to both the VC and the MA coaches afterward about just sort of how daunting it is to play Reardon, and they're basically saying, I think Colin Pfaff was saying, can we win a quarter? Which that's what Midi did today in the second quarter.
Midi did. I think that was only the 14th quarter, according to Pat the Stat, which he got a shout out on the broadcast tonight by Pat O'Rourke. It was only the 14th quarter that Reardon has lost this season.
Yeah, I can believe that. So yeah, kind of they're going to be focusing on those small goals. But I agree with you guys. I mean, it sounded like MA was already a little justifiably, concerned about how hard it would be to play against Reardon on Monday. And I think that task just got a lot harder. So good luck to them. But it's kind of, I think, for all the non-Reardon teams on that side of the bracket, it's just sort of about building toward NorCal's. I remember talking to Colin Pfaff before the playoffs started, and he said, Midi lost to him by 25. That's pretty good. I mean, they're blowing out most teams by 30 plus. So to lose to Reardon this year by 14 is exceptional. That just shows how good they are.
Exactly. Well, we're probably halfway through what we want to tape here tonight, and we haven't even mentioned the big win of the night, the Milpitas Trojans. I think Nathan talked a little bit about that yesterday. Milpitas, they went up against Bellarmine. To put this into context, there have been 35 games between public schools and WCAL schools in the open era of CCS on the boys' side, and tonight was only the 5th time out of the 35 that a public school won. Pally won over SI in 2018, MA over Sarah in 2019, MA over Sarah in 2020, and Half Moon Bay over Bellarmine in 2021. And then tonight, and Milpitas was the first public school to win a game over a WCAL school since the CCS went to pool play in 2022. So that's how historic this win was tonight. Was it an 11-point game? Was it like 55-44, I think is what it was?
I believe so, yeah.
Joseph, I mean, what do you make of Milpitas? I mean, that's a team that won its league. You can make a case that it's, if not the best public school league, then the second best public school league in the CCS. What do you make of Milpitas going to Bellarmine and winning?
I mean, first of all, was it last night or 2 nights ago that we all sat around the geniuses here and we all talked about, which of the public school between MA or Milpitas would we feel more confident in winning a game in pool play? I think we all said Milpitas, right?
Did we?
So,
I definitely said Milpitas.
I think I was on the Bellarmine bandwagon after they blew out Valley Christian to close out league play on Tuesday. Did they beat Valley by 17?
They did, but yeah, I think me and Nathan were on the Milpitas train. So,
Christian's seen Milpitas, right? You covered them?
No, Glenn was at that game.
Glenn was at that game. Okay.
So what you're telling me is that Milpitas should hope that Glenn is at every game that they play, and they'll win the CCS Open title.
He was there when they beat Palo Alto, so I think they're happy to have him there for sure. They have good results when he's in the building.
All right. Well, I mean, that was a historic win for Milpitas.
That was.
And could we see Milpitas at Santa Clara U next Friday night?
That I don't know if they have the size to really do that, but if they can shoot the ball the way they have, I mean, they got a shot. I think they match up really well. I said this, I think 2 days ago. I thought they matched up really well with Bellarmine because Bellarmine isn't really that tall either. But when you go up against SI and their three bigs, that might be a little bit of a problem. But I do think Milpitas, the way they can shoot it, have a shot against anybody.
Well, I mean, if they win their next game, that's at SI. I think are they in? Well, I mean, they're going to have to play Sarah, which is the 7th seed at home Wednesday. So, I mean, I think they are they punching their ticket to Santa Clara U with a win on Monday in this tiebreaker system?
I mean, look, don't get too ahead of ourselves, but I mean, Milpitas versus Reardon for the CCS Open title, just as we all predicted.
All right, let's get to the NCS real quick. I mean, Nathan, Doherty Valley looked really good tonight. YV said it wasn't scared of Doherty Valley. I think I tweeted maybe they should have been. That was an impressive performance by the Wildcats tonight, huh?
Well, Michael Woodward said he wasn't scared of Jalen Stokes.
Okay.
And Jalen Stokes nearly had a triple-double. He was 3 assists shy. So I think, people were reading the story probably tonight. I mean, he was insane. He had 19 points, 10 boards, 7 assists. It was one of the few times I've saw Doherty quite a bit this year, where he actually was passing more than he was looking for a shot. And when he can kind of get those guys, Rashad Cotton and Kenny Cloud, going. Rylan Sevilla, he was the starter tonight after Cole Roque is out for the season, looks like, with a foot injury. So, young guys stepping in. I mean, they just looked really. I mean, they really made it look easy tonight. They only allowed 10 points from YV in third quarter. So, they look scary, and I'm really liking the matchup they have on Tuesday against Clayton Valley. That I think is going to be a very interesting matchup with Frank Alaco. Bring his team, and Elijah Perriman apparently is playing he's a full go for Clayton Valley. So that's pretty scary. He's a Utah State commit. So we'll see. I think that's gonna be rocking on Tuesday.
This is a rematch of the Division I final from a couple of years ago, when Clayton Valley went to Doherty Valley and beat the Wildcats. I think that would have been Ryan Beasley's junior season.
Yeah.
And then the next year, Doherty Valley won the Open. So I would not take a Frank Alaco team lightly.
Especially also, Elijah Perriman being back is huge. So
it's huge.
It's huge.
Joseph, you were at St. Joe's Notre Dame.
Yes.
A lot of history in that gym with that's Jason Kidd's former school.
I was gonna say, looking at the walls of that gym, it's I was at Salesian last night. I was at St. Joe's Notre Dame tonight. I've been the 2 smallest gyms in the Bay Area the last 2 nights, but they've got banners, flags, pennants, whatever you want to call them, all over that gym.
If those walls could talk, huh?
If those walls, I saw a pennant from 1941.
Wow,
on that wall.
Interesting tweet from former Bay Area News Group Contra Costa Times writer Ben Enos tonight about wow, he's feeling old, thinking what did they do to the system that St. Joe's Notre Dame is playing Berkeley in a playoff game.
I mean, to be fair, I would say the first half it was 38-33. It was very entertaining, very up and down, high tempo. Reminded me of an OAL game actually in terms of style. It was a 20-point game, but St. Joe's just could not buy a basket. There was a lid on the rim. I mean, they got layups, couldn't go in. Open threes, wouldn't go in. Mid-range shots, wouldn't go in. So while there was quite a disparity in terms of student population, I think talent-wise, it was very even.
Just Berkeley got rolling in the second half.
Rolling. I was very impressed with their guard play.
Mm-hmm.
They look like a team in Division III where you have a bunch of guys who are 6 foot to 6'2", and they can all shoot and they run up and down. I will say their next game against San Domenico is going to be tough.
Is it?
They're the number 2 seed.
All right. A couple of, I guess we'll wrap it up with some parting shots. I do want to give a shout out to a team Nathan's seen a couple of times. Livermore. They lost tonight, but they gave Branson a game, 60-52. Nathan.
Yeah, Mike Tripp told me his guys would be ready, and I think this is a good year to build. I mean, they're going to try to break that winless league streak next year, and I think that this is a good foundation for that for next year.
Very good, Christian. You have a parting shot before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Valley Christian and MA. I thought it was very interesting to watch Valley Christian. I had done a story on them and kind of their program resurgence this year, but this was my first time seeing them in person. And at least today, they kind of looked like a little baby Reardon. They got a lot of good players. They shared the ball. I think they had 3 guys in double figures, led by Braden Harris, who's a great player. And they got a lot of skill. I mean, they lost to MA pretty big earlier this year in Atherton, and you would not have known that tonight with the way they played. I mean, they were pushing a 20-point lead late in the game, just kind of took care of business, played solid basketball, and they had a double-digit lead most of the game from about the end of the first quarter, start of the second quarter on. So a nice win for them, and both teams have some good opportunities now to get ready for NorCal.
And do you think it'll be a tight one Monday between Valley and Midi?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's been, I think earlier this year, Midi beat them on a buzzer beater, if I'm not mistaken. And then Valley came back and beat Midi for the first time in 10 years, give or take. So that should be a good spicy one. And then they'll have fun taking their shot at Reardon. I will say, as we said, Midi was able to keep it to 25 and then 14. Well, Valley had some trouble with that last week. They lost, I think, by 47. So a good low bar to try to clear this time.
There you go. Can they clear 40? Can they get under 47? Joseph, parting shot.
My parting shot is I thought that maybe the Northgate Cinderella run would continue, and Amador Valley had other ideas. They went 66-53. Amador Valley, they kind of, I almost feel like they flew under the radar in the EBAL, and they're one win away now from playing in NorCal.
Exactly.
Shout out to the Dons.
And the way it works in the NCS this year in divisions 1 through 5 is if the teams that won tonight, they got 2 shots to win 1 game to get to NorCal, because the losers of the semifinals will play for 3rd place and the final ticket to NorCal in that particular division. Nathan, you wrapped it up last night. You're going to wrap it up tonight.
Yeah, I'll wrap it up with this. Alhambra, the number 2 seed in Division 5, beat Sonoma Academy. They had a really tough stretch in the DAL. Had to play a bunch of tough teams, but here they are in the semis. So they could punch their ticket in NorCal next week. I mean, they're playing an upset team in Sonoma Valley on Tuesday, who looks like they've had some really close games. Alhambra's been pretty much dominant this whole time, so I'll give them a shout out as we close here. We'll see another DAL team in the semis. So
possibly. All right. Well, we are done for Friday night. Check us out. I don't know if we're going to do a show tomorrow because Nathan is going to wrestling in the North Coast section and Christian's going to the Central Coast section wrestling. Possibly Joseph and I will do one, but more than likely we'll wait until Monday. Are we going to do one Monday night? CCS?
I think so.
CCS pool play?
Monday.
So, a lot. I mean, we'll have a good idea who's going to be at Santa Clara U on Friday.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
After Monday night. So,
Darren, you don't want to see a match by match recap of wrestling?
We'll wait and read about it.
Yeah, we can do live reenactment,
It's gonna go like this. It's gonna go Christian going, Gilroy won it again.
22.
Yeah.
22.
So,
also, I just want to say I get there's only 6 teams in the open for NCS, but I just want to throw out there that going from Wednesday to Wednesday or Thursday to Wednesday between the first round and the semifinal, that's a long layoff for those teams.
let's just think about it this way, and we've talked about it previous years. If you're De La Salle and Salesian, by the time you play next Wednesday, the teams in like Division 1 will have already played 3 games. Doherty will have played 3 games. Playoff games before De La Salle even tips off. And then they only get 1 day break and play again on Friday for the championship.
It just makes no like. Why don't you have the semifinals on like a Monday
or Tuesday
and then it's I don't know. Look, I'm not Pat Chan. I don't make the rules. I'm just throwing that out there for anyone who wants to listen.
Or they could expand it a little bit, make it 8 teams like the CCS, and they could play a little bit earlier, play some more games.
Well, Christian would want them to do pool play, right, Christian?
I don't know. The pool play is interesting. I have to say that. I think, it's funny pulling into Valley today. There was not the anticipation, I would say, that I expected. It did fill in around tip time, so that was good. But I actually wondered if I walked into the wrong gym. So I think pool play kind of diminishes the sense of urgency a little bit. But, it's a unique idea. So,
by the way, I just want to say the St. Joe's gym is very small, but they packed that thing out. It was a great atmosphere over there.
There you go.
Room only. It was great.
All right. We're wrapping it up. Check us out, mercurynews.com, eastbaytimes.com.